The intense pleasure you feel when imagining revenge is a biological lie. It's a carefully crafted illusion, a promise of satisfaction that your brain has absolutely no intention of keeping. Understanding this illusion explains why the deepest grudges you hold are poisoning you one day at a time. And the mechanism behind it is running in your head right now. We are terrible fortune tellers of our own feelings. Psychologists call this affective forecasting, which is a clinical way of saying we constantly misjudge how future events will make us feel. We think winning the lottery will bring endless bliss, and that a painful breakup will shatter us forever. Both predictions are wrong. The joy fades, and the pain subsides much faster than we expect. Revenge is perhaps the most powerful example of this forecasting error. We build a detailed fantasy of catharsis, a moment of perfect cinematic justice where our pain is finally balanced. We are convinced this act will close a chapter. It will bring peace. Researchers at Harvard and Virginia universities wanted to test this. They designed an experiment where a group of people played a financial game. Inside the group, a freeloader was secretly planted, an actor paid to take everyone's money without contributing. As you'd expect, people were furious. The betrayal felt personal. The researchers then split the victims into two groups. One group was told the game was over and the cheater got away with it. The other group was given an option, an opportunity to spend their own money to financially punish the freeloader. Most of them took it. They paid for their revenge. Then, everyone was asked to rate how they felt. The group who couldn't retaliate was still angry, but their anger was already starting to fade. They were moving on. But the revengers? They felt worse, significantly worse. The act of punishment, the moment they had fantasized about, failed to deliver the promised relief. Their anger was sustained, even amplified. They had paid for the privilege of staying miserable. The question is, why? What is happening in the brain that makes the fantasy so sweet and the reality so bitter? The answer lies in how our brain processes rewards. The pleasure we associate with revenge comes almost entirely from the anticipation. When you are wronged, your brain's reward circuit, specifically a region called the dorsal striatum, lights up. It floods with dopamine. This happens when you plan the revenge, when you ruminate on the details, when you imagine the look on their face. Your brain is giving you a powerful chemical reward for the pursuit of retaliation. It's the same circuitry that drives you to hunt for food or seek a mate. It's a motivation system designed to push you toward a goal. The act of revenge itself is the end of that process. It's the moment the chase is over, and with it, the dopamine faucet turns off. The feeling you are left with is the cognitive equivalent of an empty room after a loud party. An abrupt silence. The satisfaction was in the planning, the scheming, the sense of impending justice. The moment of arrival is hollow. It offers no new information, no new feeling. Just the absence of the chase that kept you going. You spent weeks, months, or even years climbing a mountain for the promised view, only to find the summit shrouded in a thick, gray fog. And that's when a much darker psychological process begins. This is the part that nobody who seeks revenge ever anticipates. The act chains you to the event. In order to justify your retaliation, your mind is forced to constantly replay the original transgression. You have to keep the memory of the wound fresh and vivid. You have to keep the anger simmering. Why? Because without that constant justification, your own act of revenge starts to look ugly. It looks cruel. It looks like something a bad person would do. So your brain protects your self-image by becoming a librarian of grievances, perpetually checking out the same painful book. The person who wronged you moves on. They might forget the incident entirely, but you can't. You have voluntarily become the curator of a museum dedicated to your own pain. Every time you walk through its halls, you feel the hurt as if it were new. Revenge gives the person who hurt you a permanent space in your head. You think you're making them pay, but the rent is your own peace of mind, and you're paying it every single day. But if it's so psychologically damaging, why is the drive so universal? Why is it baked into our DNA? There must be a reason for this powerful, self-defeating instinct. The purpose of revenge is social. Its logic is for the group, with your personal happiness being an irrelevant byproduct. Imagine our early ancestors living in small, cooperative tribes. The group's survival depends on trust. If one member could steal food or harm another without consequence, the entire system would collapse. The drive for revenge evolved as a deterrent signal. It's a credible threat. Your intense, emotional, even irrational desire to retaliate sends a message to everyone else in the group. Do not cross me. The rules will be enforced. The cost of breaking social contracts is high. The system works because the threat is believable. Your brain floods you with motivating chemicals to make you look, feel, and act like a genuine threat. Evolution doesn't care if you feel empty and miserable after you follow through. The signal has already been sent. Your personal suffering is a small price to pay for the stability of the tribe. The biological programming is designed to make you a terrifying social enforcer. Your own well-being was never the point of the program. It's a tool for social regulation that uses your emotional life as fuel. Of course, some people will argue that revenge does in fact feel good. They'll point to moments of righteous justice where punishing a wrongdoer brought a profound sense of relief. This feeling is real. When someone has stripped you of your power and agency, an act of retaliation can feel like you're reclaiming control. It can reestablish a sense of order in a chaotic world. It can feel like justice. And for a moment, it is. The key is that word, moment. That feeling of catharsis is a short-term psychological loan. The immediate payback is a restored sense of power. But the interest rate is astronomical. Studies on people with high justice sensitivity, a personality trait focused on righting wrongs, show a clear correlation with lower overall life satisfaction. They spend so much energy policing the world for injustices that they live in a state of perpetual agitation. The brief satisfaction of seeing justice done is drowned out by the constant awareness of a world that is fundamentally unfair. They win a single battle, but they are committing themselves to a lifelong war, a war fought inside their own head. The data shows this path leads to anxiety, depression, and endless rumination. The temporary relief is a trap. You can't change the past. Every fantasy of revenge is an attempt to do just that. It's a desire to travel back in time and undo a hurt, to balance a scale that was knocked over. But the scale is broken. The past is a country you can never return to. The only path to peace is to stop trying to edit the manuscript. The desire for revenge is born from a feeling of powerlessness. But the ultimate act of power is to declare the debt settled. It's to close the book on your own terms, even when the other person still owes you a chapter. Forgiveness is a word people often use here, but it's a loaded one. You don't have to forgive. You just have to decide that your future is more valuable than their debt. It requires you to accept a painful truth. Perfect justice is a myth. The world is not fair. People will hurt you, and many will never understand or apologize for the pain they caused. You can spend the rest of your life demanding they fix the past, or you can use your energy to build a future they are no longer a part of. The first path keeps you locked in a room with the person who hurt you. The second one gives you the key. The chain you think you're holding is a deception. Its other end is not around their neck. It's a manacle locked around your own wrist. The only person you can free is yourself.